Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Breck Advisory. Today, we're going to be looking at a couple of really interesting charts, Ethereum and Bitcoin. And we'll get started with that right after this.
Yeah, and if you like what we're talking about here on the Breck Advisory, please do us a favor and like and subscribe this content. We'd love to have you join us every time we create new content. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you get the notification.
So in the last video where we talked about Ethereum, we were somewhere around here, I think. And I said that this line was likely to hold. And of course, we had discussed this August 18th low point, which of course I was saying would repeat when we were way back here. Okay, so that was the low point, and thus far, it has remained the low point. And one more thing about this chart, which is it's really interesting. That's the daily chart. This is the 1 week. And it's interesting when you look at it on the 1 week and this this diagonal line we got here. If the chart would, there we go, update. Okay, I mean look at how it hugged that trend line on this chart. Is that crazy or what? What do you think of that?
Very nice. Very nice. It looks like we have a trend. Seems to be going up. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, that's what's happening. That's not the hard part to figure out. The hard part is to figure out where it goes up from, which, boom, people, listen, I'm going to talk to the audience for a second here because I just want to say, if you're not like paying attention to our videos, we've had quite a few good calls here. And okay, my brush doesn't want to load for some reason. Okay. We've had some good calls, and I consider this a good one. This was a good spot to buy from. That was a good spot to buy from. That's all. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, that's the end of my I told you so. That's fun. All right, but I'm going to move to the next chart. Next chart is, well, I mean, obviously Ethereum is looking good, right? Now this, okay, this is actually something that I wanted to bring up a few days ago. So in that time, it has changed a little bit, but I want to tell you where I want to see, I want to show you. Okay, so this is the Bitcoin chart. This area, of course, is where we're at currently. This is the daily chart. So each bar is a day. And then we have this blue pattern, which I don't know about you, but this blue pattern looks pretty similar, right? Let me lay it like exactly on top. It's hard to say to see when one is completely blocking the other, so I'll move it out of the way again, but just to lay it on top for a moment. As you can see, these two patterns are extremely similar. Would you agree to that, Gare?
They look like they were painted from the same brush.
Yeah, yeah. So in a moment, I'm going to tell you where I got this blue pattern from, or do you recognize it? Do you recognize this blue pattern?
I think it might be from the last run up in the market, but I can't
Yeah,
say for sure.
no, you are absolutely right. We got it from back here. We got it from back. It's this. It's this. All right. Now,
Right.
what happened at the end of that pattern?
It
Took a
didn't
big,
go well.
yeah, it took a big dive, right? So I mean, it's just a pattern, and honestly, this type of pattern where it's consolidating at a resistance point is going to often look somewhat similar. But considering that we just went through that with Bitcoin, we even had, if you can see this, let me try to zoom it in a little bit bigger so you can see the fine details here. Okay, so this tiny little poke above 50,000, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. So if I line up this chart, we see that at that same exact point in the copy, it had that little poke, same thing, that little peak right there, and then tried to get up there again, failed, and then down. So I'm not really gonna say what to make of this chart because I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but all I can say is this exists. And
Right, right. Well, no, and we're both on the fence right now. We both believe that this market can go either way, and it's a terrible place to be because it's the last place you want to be. But be cautious. I'm being cautious. I don't want to. I think this. It's funny that you actually illustrated that because in my mind that scenario has been playing out, and it's playing out right before I want to hit the button to buy another Bitcoin, in which I've resisted the temptation in the last 10 days to buy another Bitcoin. So because I feel like as soon as I hit that button, your chart right there, that little pattern is going to ring true. Not that I'm always superstitious, but it seems every now and then we tend to do what we believe is the right thing, and then all of a sudden we're corrected, right? Very quickly. So this is an interesting pattern, Dean. I don't know. Did you see it, or did you just go, "Hey, this is interesting. Let me just compare this to this"? How did you come across that?
uh, yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I must have noticed some similarities and then thought to myself, let me take a look and see exactly
Yeah.
how close it is. I'll tell you another thing that's interesting. Well, like I started out saying, I wanted to show it to you a couple of days ago when it was really much more valid because it's still valid. It's still very valid, but we do have a little bit of deviation here just in the last couple of days.
Right.
Um, Additionally to that, since those last couple of days, Ethereum has broken out, as I've shown you. Now that could shoot right back down too. I mean, who knows? But certainly showing strength in Ethereum and holding that trend line. And the other thing is, it could drop down. It could drop down. I'm sort of in a similar boat as you. Like, I really want to buy some Bitcoin before it takes off, but then I see this and I'm like, maybe it has a little time before it takes off, and I have some orders in the low 40s. So this actually could play out and go down to those lower areas and fill those orders. But what happens after that? It doesn't necessarily mean that it will continue farther down. So honestly, it could play out to my benefit. The alts could rally right now as they're doing. Bitcoin could drop down a bit, hit my orders. This could scare everyone a lot. It brings it down, hits my orders, and then continues northward. Frankly, that is a scenario that I would enjoy.
Yes, it would be the perfect scenario. And I hope it plays out for you that way. I've been sitting on my hands. And just the funny thing is that it's been trading in this channel. And I think you have that channel kind of marked out here. At least the top of the channel would be 50,000. I don't think the bottom of the channel is necessarily 42 that it's been fluctuating around. I think that, if you look at the channel itself, the last 10 days or so, it's been what? Between 46 and 49.50, somewhere in that range, for at least the last 10 days, at least the time that I've been sitting on my hands. It hasn't made a major move either up or down. They're just sitting here kind of doing its thing sideways, which weren't we just talking about this the other day, Dean, with was even yesterday about Ethereum, just doing the same thing. You were looking at the Ethereum chart, but I swear that thing, it hit about $3,300 and it just kind of crawled sideways for a little while. If you go back to your chart, and then bam. Now you're looking at the weekly chart here. So you'd
Yeah,
have to go to the daily chart to see that, right?
yeah. I'm just waiting for it to update, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And what's interesting about that is that it didn't have much of a retracement. I mean, it didn't retrace at all. It just paused. But it went sideways. Is
But that's
exactly.
eerie to me because that tells me that there's a strong possibility if it happened here at Ethereum, there's a correlation that it might even happen over on the Bitcoin side. I don't even know why it popped like this to not an all-time high, but it's starting to flirt and get up into that territory, right? Why did it pop over? what was a considerable amount of resistance over the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think it has to do with Bitcoin dominance going down. All of the, well, not all of them, but a lot of the altcoins are rallying. People are looking for, the things that can give them bigger gains over Bitcoin right now. And of course, it had all this support in this area. So I don't really think it's as far as what I've seen, it hasn't been like news that has been driving this. I'm seeing a lot of technicals driving it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And that's what I was hoping to hear, was that it wasn't driven by somebody saying, "Oh, Ethereum this," and all of a sudden it pops. So this is good. This shows a lot of support. So am I hearing it correctly that money is flowing out of Bitcoin potentially and more into the alts then?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Bitcoin is sinking or anything, but I mean, it's down a little bit, right? So I don't know if it's necessarily that the money is being taken out of Bitcoin. It's just new money is mostly going into the alts right now, especially with that $50,000 resistance level. People are probably thinking, now's the time for alts, and it seems to be the case. Me too. I bought a bunch of Ethereum at the bottom of that. I bought it when it came back down to this line right there. So I'm pretty happy about that, and I think maybe a lot of people were following along the same idea as me. Even though we just had a discussion about how Bitcoin is the most stable, secure for the future, whatever. I know that Ethereum could give me much better returns on this cycle, so I wanted some of those good returns. So maybe
Yeah,
everyone's.
I think it's a really good point. I think when you have safety, you have less volatility, and there's certainly a lot more money in Bitcoin overall than there is Ethereum. So you're going to have a little bit more stability there. It's not to say that Bitcoin is super stable, but if you're going to see a bigger gain, you're going to see it outside. You're going to see these bigger X factors happen outside of Bitcoin, in my opinion. And that's what we're seeing right now with Ethereum. And I think Ethereum is always a safe bet because it's number two, right? And it's got a huge value proposition in the marketplace. And a lot of people have invested a ton of money into their technology stacks working with Ethereum. So I think it's a good bet, and I'm really excited to see that. In my hodling account, I'm very happy with the gains that I made there. But unlike you, I did not reinvest into Bitcoin recently. In fact, I sold out at about that position just to take on some gains and kind of put myself in a position to be in that 50-50 position to determine what's going to happen next. And it looks like you won this time. So good for you. As long as you find an exit point, or maybe there will be no exit point. Maybe we never see a $3,300 Ethereum in the near future. So hopefully this is going to be a rally that sticks around for a long time. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
charts the charts really do point that direction, don't they?
Yeah, it's looking good. I think you said that I think you meant Ethereum when you said I bought Bitcoin, but you meant Ethereum, I think, right?
I haven't. Yeah, I sold my Ethereum and I haven't bought any new Ethereum. That's correct. So,
Okay.
so like I said, you win this one,
Well,
and it feels good. And when I need money for a burger next week, I know who I'm coming to find.
and let's keep in mind, hey, as long as we're on this Ethereum chart, let's look at the next 30-day low point. Right about there. All right. So just to see what that might look like. Because and again, we don't know exactly where um, the low point's going to go, but certainly, well, honestly, that wouldn't necessarily be crazy either to come back to this line. But Ethereum's looking strong, and I don't know. I don't know. I might give it a little bit more than that.
So your
But
30
either way.
bar analysis is based off of, I thought, off of Bitcoin. Are you finding that Ethereum's following that same pattern?
No, actually, the place that the pattern shows up the best is on the total market chart. So
Okay.
no single coin really shows that pattern off perfectly or as well as the total market. So yeah, this pattern is based on the total market. So it's in some way applies to definitely Bitcoin and Ethereum being the two major caps that contribute to the total market. So I would use it for either one of those.
Sounds
But
great.
in any case, yeah, I'm looking for, I don't know, something like that. Depends on how strong it is, because this is a really strong move. I mean, it could theoretically the next low could be way up here. I don't know. I don't know. But that's what I'm keeping my eye on, and we'll see what happens. All right.
All right. Well,
So
I
I
hope
want
you're
to,
right. I hope you're right for both our positions.
yeah, I know. I know. As long as that next low is higher than where we're at, then great, right? But if it ends up like that's the next low, that's not good. That won't.
No, no,
That won't.
we don't want to see that. No one needs
No.
to see that. But honestly, good analysis, good charting, and I gotta say you've been spot on with a couple of these lately, and this one looks like it's you made a smart move. You bought at the bottom of the channel, and it looks like you're going to continue to make gains on that, assuming the momentum continues to go the same way.